To Camp Creatology. Today, as we said, we are making a roller skate salt painting. So you're going to need a couple of different supplies in order to make this, but we're really glad that you're here and hoping that you can follow along with us and make this exciting roller skating salt painting. So what's cool about the salt is that it's going to help us with some watercolors. So we get to use watercolor today too, which is going to be fun. So let's talk about the different supplies. I'm going to switch over to the other camera. And here is my roller skate painting. And then here is a blank canvas. So in order to make this beautiful roller skate painting, you're definitely going to need a blank canvas. You don't have to have this printout, but this is available on our website. So you can print this out if you need the directions, or if you want to watch this again later, or if you want to just read the directions and kind of try it again on your own, you can. We're going to be using some acrylic paint. So here's the box that the acrylic paint comes in. You're going to need some paint brushes to go with that acrylic paint. You're definitely going to want some craft glue. It comes in these cute little glue pens, which is going to be easy for you to use because then we are going to use salt. So make sure that you ask a grown-up if you have some salt that you can use for your painting. We're going to use some salt, and then we're going to put watercolors on top of that salt in order for you to spread your colors into this roller skate painting. One other important thing is going to be a stencil. So in the downloads, there is this template for the roller skate. You can try and draw it yourself if you want to with a pencil, but I'm going to be using this and show you how you can transfer this design onto your canvas so that it'll be a little bit easier for you to paint and add your salt. So I am glad you're here. I'm excited to make this painting with you. And I'm going to start by having my acrylic paint. I'm going to go ahead and use a dark kind of blue, almost a royal blue or a sky blue. You can use whatever color you want to. So if you want a pink background or an orange background or a green background, I want you to use whatever color you want to use. Now you might notice that I have a little piece of scrap paper here too, because I don't want to get my table all messy. So since I'm using paints and since I'm using salt and other crazy things today, I want to make sure that I keep everything kind of in one place so that it's an easy cleanup when I'm done. I'm going to take the acrylic paint, and if you're using the acrylic paint for the first time, there's going to be a little top on it. So then you can just peel this off and have your paint ready to go. And I'm going to carefully put the top that I just pulled off into the trash can so that I don't make any messes. And then I am going to paint this whole entire background this blue. I tried to say background and blue at the same time. So go ahead and dip your paintbrush into your paint. And I'm going to use these really long strokes all the way across my canvas and go back and forth in order to paint the entire thing. So today we're doing our roller skate painting, but there are lots of other camp projects we've already done last week, and there are even more camp projects next week. So we're kind of right in the middle of camp, and there's some that are already available for you to go watch. So I hope that you do as many of these camp crafts as you can. Maybe you can even do all of them, which would be really cool if you do the whole entire camp collection. That sounds like fun. So I'm painting back and forth and back and forth, and I'm just going to cover this entire canvas with this acrylic paint. Now, you don't want to get acrylic paint on your clothes because it's really hard to get back off. You can get it off your fingers pretty easy with some soap and water, but it is harder to get off of your clothes, so be really careful. And if you have any questions while we're going, feel free to put them into the Q&A, and I will check it and make sure that everybody's doing okay. And if I don't see it right away, Nicole will help me out. So I'm curious what color you are coloring your background. If you want to, you can tell me in the Q&A, what color background are you making? Is it the same as mine? Or is it different than mine? This is pretty relaxing. It reminds me of like some blue water. Oops. And I'm glad I put this paper down because I'm getting a little bit of paint on this scratch paper. And I'm just going back and forth and making nice long paintbrush strokes to cover the whole thing with this acrylic paint. Looking good so far. So I see a couple of you are telling me what you're doing. So we have some purple and we have some pink backgrounds. Someone's doing red and blue, so that's cool that you have two colors in your background. Spring green, that's a very pretty color. What other colors are you doing in your background? All right, I feel good about mine. I think I've painted all the sides and it looks pretty nice. So if you have any kind of glue that's white, like if you have some school glue or some white craft glue, that's what you're gonna need for the salt. If you don't have glue, you can kind of just skip over the salt part if you want to. So that's an option for you also. So I am going to use a little bit of water. Now, if you have a little cup, like a little paper cup is awesome for water. So maybe something like this with some water in it would be great. I have this little jar, but I use this jar only for paint. So that's why I have this. I'm going to put my paintbrush into my jar. And then I'm also going to have a little paper towel or a napkin. And I'm going to paint the bottom of my cup. And what I'm doing is I'm kind of getting the extra paint off. So I'm getting that extra paint off of my brush, and then I'm brushing onto the paper towel. And this is how I'm actually clearing my brush a little bit. There we go. And can we do two colors? Absolutely. And cyan, whoa, someone knows the fancy name for some colors, so that's cool too. Oops, I just painted on this, so now I have to go back and clean my brush one more time. So I have my brush clean, I have my background, and I need to let this background dry. So I'm going to kind of push it off to the side for a little bit and let it dry. And while it's drying, I'm going to show you the next step of what we're going to be doing. And if you have some paint and you don't want to get it on something, you can always put another piece of scrap paper down so that you kind of keep protecting whatever your new surface is. So then I have this template, and this template has the roller skate on it. So the roller skate, we need to transfer this design onto our canvas. So there's lots of different ways that you can do this, but I'm going to show you kind of a really cool way today using just a pencil. So I'm taking this roller skate and I'm flipping over, and you can absolutely use three colors if you want to use three colors. Let's just be wild. And after I flip the skate over, I'm going to take kind of like my pencil and I'm going to scribble all over the back of my paper. Now, I don't need to scribble all over the whole entire paper. I'm really just trying to scribble where the roller skate is drawn. So if you can kind of see through your paper a little bit to see that roller skate, that's going to be good. So somebody else is doing a bright pink background. So I hope that all of you were able to finish your backgrounds and you've kind of pushed them off to the side and just let them sit there and let them dry for a little bit. It will take a little bit of time for them to dry enough so that we can add on the salt and the watercolor. So we're going to do this with our roller skate right now. And then we're going to do a couple of other things too while we wait for it to dry. So I think so far so good. If you're just joining us, go ahead and paint the background of your canvas using some acrylic paint. And then we're taking a pencil and we're scribbling on the back of our roller skate. And this was the template that we printed out. If you weren't able to print this out, you can always try and draw your skate. So that's definitely an option too. Or you can watch this video later on after you did get a printout, and you can try this activity later on too. So I have gone all over the place. and I've scribbled on the back of this roller skate. And the reason why I'm scribbling on the back of this roller skate is because my pencil has graphite in it. And this graphite is going to transfer onto my canvas in order for this design to get onto my canvas. So once I have that, then I'm going to be able to draw a roller skate on here without even having to be able to draw a roller skate, because I personally don't know if I could draw a roller skate by myself. I would probably need some extra help. So it's going to be nice that I can transfer this instead of having to draw it from scratch. So while we're waiting for our painting to dry, feel free to fan it. Feel free to kind of move it or move some air over in front of it so that it dries a little bit quicker. But I have a couple of jokes and riddles and things for you while we're waiting for this to dry. So if you think you know some of the answers, then you can put them in the Q&A and you can kind of guess and play along with us. My first one is not really a guessing game. It's more of just like a joke. So my first joke for you is, how does a roller skater make a sandwich? How does a roller skater make a sandwich? And the answer is with two slices of bread and some really good cheese. Pause for laughter because I'm sure that you guys thought that was really funny. So just make sure you have some really good cheese and you're going to have a really good sandwich. So keep that in mind. All right, now I have like a riddle for you that you have to figure out. So if you know the answer to this one, I want you to try and type it into the Q&A. And Nicole, do you mind if we switch to the other camera while we're waiting for this canvas to dry?
Yeah, of course.
Thank you. Okay, so the next question is, and put the answer if you think you know it into the Q&A. What do you call a bear with no teeth? What do you call a bear with no teeth? Let's see if we have any ideas. Oh, someone knows. What else? Oh, two people know so far. What do you call a bear with no teeth? A gummy bear. We got a couple of people who got that one right. I'm impressed. Okay, new question. Ready? What is black and white and blue? What is black and white and blue? Try and put your answers into the Q&A. What is black and white and blue? I don't see it so far. Black and white and blue. No guesses. We got a guess. Oh, no, not yet. Some of the guesses were blackberry and brown, so it's not yet. None of those are right yet. What's black and white and blue? Dark blue. That's funny. Not the answer I was going for, but definitely true. So good call on that one. Let's see if anybody else knows. Oh, yes, somebody knows. It's a sad zebra. He's black and white and just really blue. So it's a sad zebra. Okay, and then here's another one. What do you call a pig that does karate? What do you call a pig who does karate? Yes, a pork chop. Pop, pop, a pork chop. All right. One last question. A pirate, that's funny. A pork chop is correct. Pork chop. Yep. Okay, one more. What fruit never ever wants to be alone? What fruit never ever wants to be alone? Grapes is not right, but that's a good answer. Not a cherry, but you're on the right track. Banana, blueberry, nope. See what else? A strawberry, nope. So this fruit never ever wants to be alone. It's always gonna be in a If there's two of them, what do you call that? Not watermelon, a pear. That's right. Nicely done. So the fruit that never ever wants to be alone is a pear because it wants to be in a pear. All right. Well, joke time and riddle time is over for now. So thank you for playing along with that. I appreciate it. But the good news is while we were waiting and while we were telling jokes, I think our canvas is pretty dry. So I'm going to switch back over to my other camera and we're ready to go on to the next step. So the next step is going to be, we have drawn on the back of our roller skate. I can actually touch this painting and it doesn't have any paint coming up. This is paint from before. This isn't paint from right now, in case you're wondering. All right, so I am ready to transfer my drawing. So I'm going to kind of figure out, I like to kind of fold down the sides so I know where the end of the roller skate is. So I'm kind of making it fit this canvas a little better so that I put it in the right place. And now that I have put it in the right place, I need this to be flat against my canvas so that all of the drawing that I just put here is going to be able to transfer. So now I'm going to trace the outline of the skate. And it's kind of to trace on this canvas because the canvas is really bumpy. So it's going to be a little harder than you think. You think, oh, I can trace, no problem. But then your pencil starts going in wacky directions because this canvas is very bumpy and very uneven. But I've traced the whole entire outline of the skate. And I traced this part in the front, which is like the stopper. I don't know if you've ever skated using these kind of old school skates before, but that's how you stop yourself. You kind of press down with your toes. Now I'm going around the wheels. And then I'm going on the inside part of the wheels.
Megan, do you have any suggestions for if people don't have the template?
Yeah. So if you don't have a template, I think that you should take a piece of paper that's about the same size as the canvas and take a pencil and try to draw what you think this looks like. So it looks like the skate is like a big letter L, and then you're going to put two circles on it to make wheels. So if you can kind of your own on a piece of paper, kind of thinking about the big shapes that make the skate, then you can do the exact same thing that we did, where you kind of scribble on the back of your picture, and then you can transfer that. So I'm pressing down and I'm getting all that scribble to hopefully show up on the other side. And it's pretty hard to see because it's a dark background, but I'm going to hold it up closer. Do you kind of see my lines? And hopefully you can see your lines too at home. And just to be extra like pointed out, do you see it now? Maybe this is that part that I got a little bit wet, but that's okay. I'm going to put a special piece over top of that. So now I have the outline of my skate onto my canvas using that transfer. And if your transfer didn't transfer very well, you can try doing it again and just pressing down harder with your pencil. But if you did a light background, I bet that your transfer shows up really well. And if you have a darker background like the blue one I'm doing, then it might just be a little bit harder to see on the camera, but I can definitely see it from where I'm sitting. So I have all of these, and you don't have to go back over this. I'm just kind of doing this because I just want you to be able to see it while I'm working on it while you're at home. So I have the big part of the boot, then I have the wheels, I have the stopper, I have the places where it laces up, and now we are ready to move on to our glue. So I have these cool glue pens, and these glue pens are really nice. They have a cool tip at the end to make it nice and be able to kind of draw with the glue. So I'm going to draw with this glue, and I'm going to go around the skate, and I'm kind of pressing on the glue and leaving lines of glue as I go. There we go. Oops. And I'm going to go all the way around the outline. I am going to go back and do all those details inside of the wheel too. And if you want to make your lines a little bit thicker, you can. If you want to make them thinner, you can. It's kind of up to you, but I'm going to try and keep them about the same all the way around. Here's the stopper. And if you accidentally put glue anywhere, so I just got a teeny tiny little drop of glue right here, it might get some salt in that, but I'm just going to turn it into a part of the design, so it's not the end of the world. So if you put glue on your canvas, the salt's going to stick to it. So you don't really have a choice about that, but that's okay because you can just turn it into your design. So here are all the wheels. And then I'm going to go and do the circles for the laces. And if you don't want to do circles, you can just do a dot. You don't have to do the circle with the empty part in the middle. You can just do a glue dot if you want to. And if you want to add any extra stripes or any extra designs to your roller skate, you can add those designs with the salt. So anywhere I have glue right now is going to have salt. So I added these extra lines right here, but you don't have to do that part. And if you want to add any lines up here, you can. That's totally up to you. All right, I hope that you're doing okay with this. Let me know if you need any help or have any questions. So you can just draw the skate directly onto the canvas. So if you don't have the picture that I showed you before, you can try and just draw your own with a pencil and just do the best you can. And what's great about paint is you can always paint over top of it if you don't like it and try it again. Just make sure that you let it dry in between like we did too. So now comes the part where we're going to use salt. So because I'm about to pour salt, I definitely want to have some paper underneath this. And I'm going to do the salt stuff kind of like how I do glitter. When I like to pick up glitter, I usually fold a piece of paper in half. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour some of the salt on here, and then I'm going to shake it onto this paper. And the reason why I folded it in half is so then I can kind of take it and all the salt kind of comes down in one place and goes into the trash can nice and easily. So that's what I'm going to try and do. And you can do it directly from your salt shaker. It might be hard, but on one of these little salt shakers that I happen to have, it has like a bigger nozzle or it has the sprinkles. So if you use the bigger nozzle, you can kind of let more salt come out at once. Or I happen to have a pretty big salt canister. So make sure that you ask a grown-up. Don't just take the salt. Make sure you ask permission first. But I'm sure they'll let you use it if you show them what you're doing. And you're going to add salt, kind of like how you would add glitter. If you've ever added glitter to any of your pictures, you put the glue down, you put the salt on top of it, or put the glitter on top of it. And then we're going to kind of take off the extra. So I kind of push it around. Woo, nice. Awesome. And if I missed any spots, I have all this extra, so I can kind of go back and put some more down in case I missed any spots or any spots want to grab some more of that salt. And I can kind of move it around. I love the way that that's kind of falling off my picture. That's so fun. Awesome. Now, one time I did this painting and I didn't let this paint dry enough. And so a lot of the salt stuck to the background of my picture. And I kind of liked it. But if your salt stuck to your picture, you can always kind of take the paintbrush and kind of move any extra salt off of your canvas. And then if you have some of this extra salt because it touched paint, you don't want to eat it anymore. So definitely get rid of it. Don't try and keep it. But you could always give it to a different person who's going to make their salt painting. And you can share instead of throwing it straight away too. So keep that in mind. Now we are ready for some watercolors. So I have my watercolor set, and I hope that you have a watercolor set. It doesn't have to look exactly like mine, but if you have any kind of watercolors, that would be great. And watercolors work with water. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to kind of dip my finger into my cup of water. And I'm going to kind of put a couple of drops in some of the different colors. So you don't have to do it this way. This is just, I think it's kind of fun to take some water drops and put it into a bunch of the different colors I think I'm going to use. But you can do this with a brush. You don't have to do it with a finger. I just kind of think it's fun to do with my finger. Just put little drops into each one so that I have plenty of different colors to pick from. And I'm going to use those colors. And what's really cool about the salt painting that we're doing is that the salt is going to grab these watercolors and it's just going to spread the color and kind of make it almost like tie-dye, like the shirt I'm wearing today. So that's pretty cool. So you can use the same brush you were using before, as long as you cleaned it out, or you can use a different brush. It's up to you. And I'm going to dip my brush into my water again. And then I'm going to go into one of the colors that already has one of the drops. And I'm grabbing some color onto my brush and I'm going to touch the salt. And I hope that when you touch the salt, you notice how it just kind of spreads. It's really pretty cool. So I'm going to just touch the salt and watch how that color spreads. And I'm going to keep changing colors. So I'm going to use lots of different colors on my salt. And you can use lots of different colors, or if you want to do all the same color, that is totally up to you. Whatever you think is going to look the best for your salt drawing. I love the color blue. So I know I already have a blue background, but I really just like adding more blue and more purple because those are some of my favorite colors. Add some red. And I'm going to lift this up so you can see it a little bit better. But this is what I'm doing. I'm just taking those watercolors and I'm just kind of dabbing them into that salt and letting them spread out. I'm adding some more water to the watercolor so that it has some cool bright colors. This one I just use is kind of like a neon green yellow, so I like that one a lot. I'm going to use that one a couple more times for sure. Maybe I'll try this light purple over here and paint some of the wheel. Maybe I'll jump around and paint some of the stripe with the purple. Maybe some of this stripe up here. Just going to go all over the place and find some spots for this light purple I like. And then maybe I'm going to find a different color and see some different spots for that color to go. I just touched the corner of this circle and it filled out the whole circle. I love that. So if I just hold my paintbrush right there, the salt just put it all the way around the circle and I didn't even have to move my paintbrush, just filled it in for me. So I like that about the salt. It's pretty fun to play with watercolors in the salt. Here's some green. And I hope that yours is going pretty well and that you're having a good time making your own roller skate salt painting. There's lots of colors to choose from. So I'm trying to include a lot of different colors. I kind of keep picking the same ones because I just have favorites, you know? I like this green a lot. I'm gonna paint this green a couple other places. Ooh, I haven't used this one at all. I think this one's like a black. Oh yeah, look at that. That shows up really cool. I'll make this little lace. Here we go. I like this black one a lot. That's nice. And feel free to add more water to any of your colors if you need more water so that your watercolor can spread because the salt is soaking it up, right? It's soaking it up and spreading that color around. Maybe a little bit more on this wheel over here. Let me try this cool yellow. And I'm going to try this green. I like that green a lot. Of course, more blue. Why not? Of course, more blue. There we go. And this is going to take a little bit to dry, probably just about 15 minutes. So if you tell some other people some other jokes, then by the time you're done telling your jokes, I bet your painting's going to be dry. So what I like about these canvases too that we're using today is the canvases have a little spot on the back where you can fold it up and you can prop up your painting. So you can kind of sit it on your table or sit it by the wall if you want to when you're done. But so far, this is what my painting looks like. I have my roller skate. It's kind of 3D. It's got that salt. Then I have some extra designs happening. So I can, if I want to, add some more glue in the background and add some more stripes, or I can just add directly from the watercolor. So remember I had this spot over here. I could purposely turn it into like a design, adding some more watercolor, or you could add some more acrylic paint if you wanted to also. So let me see, I got some acrylic paint still. I tried to turn this into a heart, but we'll see if it looks like a heart in just a moment. I'm going to take some more of my acrylic paints and I'm going to add a couple of things in the background. So I'm going to get my yellow paint, and I haven't ever used this yellow paint. So I'm going to carefully take off that lid, make sure I put it in the trash so that I don't get it messed up somewhere. And I'm going to take some of this yellow and watch this. I'm going to make a lightning bolt. Whoop, 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 whoop. That's cool. This means my roller skate is super fast and you will never be able to catch me. So there we go. And maybe over here I make a little star. And maybe I make a couple of polka dots. And I'm not painting in the skate because I'm kind of trying to make like a cool background. So I'm leaving the inside of the skate kind of blank. Make another star over here. And then because my watercolor didn't really show up over here, I'm gonna use my napkin to get rid of that extra water spot I got right there. And then I'm gonna make a yellow heart right there. So I'm using one of my skinny brushes and my acrylic paint. And now you'll never know that I made a mistake over there because it has a beautiful heart. I'm gonna add another heart. And a couple more dots. And you can use more than just yellow. If you want to use other colors, you're welcome to do that. But I do believe that I am finished. So I have just now finished a new roller skate salt painting. I want to show you my other two roller skate salt paintings. So I have that one on the blue background. I have this one on the purple background. And notice how I added some extra stars and splotches on that one. I used a lot thicker glue, so that's why my wheels are a lot thicker. And then here's another one on a blue background where I put more glue. So instead of doing acrylic paint, I used more glue here and then put more colors into the background. So you can do that also. So these stripes are kind of different from these stripes. So these aren't a pair of roller skates. You can't wear, well, maybe you could wear them together and it would still look cool, but I am really happy with this and I had a really good time today. I don't see any other questions, so I think that we're done for the day. Please come back to camp in 2 weeks. We have a butterfly and we have a terracotta pot. So I'm going to be teaching this terracotta pot planter class also. So I hope that I see you again for that class. And come and see our other classes on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, next 2 weeks. And then we will be finished with Camp Creatology. Lots of videos for you to go back and watch and lots of projects for you to try if you haven't already. So my name is Megan and I had a really good fun time crafting with you today. See you soon.